Hello, YouTube yogis. Good morning. I can see I can shift my camera just a little bit without knocking it over. Hello. That's a bit better. Okay, we're going to start standing today. I know that's kind of an unusual thing, but we've done it before. And if you like, you're going to move toward the back of your mat. We're going to stand with the feet wide. Maybe with the toes pointing out a little bit. So I bring your feet as wide as your mat. If you don't like your feet to come off your mat, that's totally cool. We're going to work with a little bit of energy. It's spring. In Vermont, it's a kind of odd day. It might thunderstorm, whatever, but this doesn't mean there's not some beautiful energy coming from the earth and coming from above. So we are going to start with some grounding. So the hands by the sides. Do a little wiggle out of your shoulders, loosen your knees, maybe get a little bit of wibble wobble in the head. Now bend your knees just slightly and inhale, reach the arms out and up overhead. The fingers will touch at the top, and as you send that earth's energy downward through the body, you bend the knees. So as the hands are downward, you're actually gathering the earth's energy up and downward. Scooping in the energy again, floating it up and pressing it down through the spine. Tailbone is tucked, belly is nice and active, and 2 more times. Just feeling that brown, fresh, and green, fresh earth. Maybe it's damp where you are, maybe it's dry where you are, and we're going to rise up. Drop the hands by the sides. I'm going to take a little movement left and right, almost like, you know how when you're a little kid, or if you've had a child or a grandchild, like, oh, one arm is longer than the other. Often they do that in front of the body, but we're doing it side to side. All right, this time we're going to start at the top. Send the palms out and the fingers toward the sky. It seems kind of odd. The thumbs are forward. Little bend in the knees again. Tuck your tailbone. Take a breath in. We're gathering in the energy from space, from consciousness, and driving it out. We're creating a bubble, lifting it up through the spine. And again, exhale, knees bend a lot more. Energy out, creating this bubble. We lift it up. Out and down, using the quads, using the belly. Maybe finding a smile, not in just the eyes or the face, but as they say in Eat, Pray, Love, Ketut says, smile is your liver. And then we're going to come with the hands, palms up, legs relatively straight. Drop the hands by the sides. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Inhale. Draw them behind you. Get broader in the collarbones and release. Watch the belly and the tailbone. You don't want the belly just kind of popping forward and the tailbone reaching back. You want to tuck a little bit. So again, inhale, squeeze the shoulders up. Exhale, send them behind you and release. And again, shoulders up. They come behind you and release. You're going to reach the arms out side to side. Get wider in your space. Fingers like you mean it here. We're going to tilt the right ear to the right shoulder. And we're going to lift the left arm high and drop the right hand and bring that into a curve. Pressing extra energy into the outer edge of the left foot, opening up the heart and feeling this sort of I don't know, canoe bowing, if you will, along the left side. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, drop your arms out wide. Tilt the left ear toward the left shoulder. Drop the left arm down, reach the right arm high. Get really tall, belly in, and then a curve over toward the left. And checking in that you're not looking downward, but either straight forward or up. Arms reach overhead. We're going to take a temple now. Bending the knees outward, the elbows draw outward. And if your booty just shoved itself behind you, tuck, 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 tucker. If you live here, tucker hill in, tucker hill, tucker tailbone in. Ah. All right, we're going to draw the forearms together, zipping up from the elbows all the way to the fingertips. We are working the belly. We are working the quads. Inhale, open up. And then we're going to stand in our cactus shape arms. We're going to bring the feet parallel to one another and the outer edges of the mat. We're going to go ahead and take eagle arms. One wrap or two, doesn't matter. If your knees are locked, unlock them. Draw the elbows as high as your shoulder blades. Your shoulder blades? Your shoulders. Then we're going to give ourselves a little hug. So your right arm should be on the bottom, your left on the top, and you might see if you can sneak the hands a little closer together behind you. Take the left arm and point it as straight across, bring it as straight across your chest and outward as possible. You're going to bend the right elbow. You're going to use that right arm to lift the left tricep and press it toward you. You might even take a little twist over to the right. And over to the left. And come forward. Arms sweep up. Exhale, forward fold. You still have your wide legs. Nod your head and shake your head. Unravel super slowly all the way to stand. Once the shoulders stack over the hips, the head lifts, we reach the arms up overhead once again, and then draw into that cactus shape. If you're a sport fan, the goal. And then we're going to take the opposite wrap. So this time it's going to be left elbow underneath the right. I had to think there for a second. Knees are not locked, elbows lift, shoulder height or higher, belly is in. And give yourself a hug. See if you can sneak the fingertips closer together behind you. Might not take you very far, but that's okay. The right arm now straightens, so it's across the body. The left elbow bends so that the left palm is facing your face. Facing your face. You can go, oh my goodness, I could have had a V8. And lift and press the biceps toward you, and then a little twist over to the left. Front and center, over to the right. Come forward, and once again, we sweep the arms out and up. This time, the hands come toward the heart. Samastihi. Wide-legged. It's a little bit more like a combo mountain pose or wide-legged stance. Let's go ahead and interlace the fingers. Press the palms down. Reach the palms forward. And then bend the knees, round the spine, drop the head. Inhale, palms up. We're taking sort of a cow, little back bend here with the legs straightened. And exhale, palms forward, head down, round the spine, press the palms forward, dropping the knees a little bit. 2 more rounds of that. And one final one. Palms draw in front, back, around, shoulders forward, drop your head, knees bend. Drop your hands to your knees. Sit deeper in to a sort of chair. We're going to take some standing cat-cows. Just finding a little bit of a deeper arc in the back, a little smile on the face. And the next time we round the spine, we're going to find a flat spine halfway down. Exhale all the way down to the mat with your fingertips, head is heavy. Take a little sweep over to the left, feel the texture of the mat. And a little sweep over to the right. And sweep to the left. Right. One more round. Draw to the center. Take a little halfway lift. Your hands might come to your shins. Your knees might bend. Exhale for your forward fold and walk your hands into a downward dog. You might need to bring your feet a little bit closer together. Breathing in. And breathe out. Rise up to the tippy toes. Chest energy moves toward your thighs. Drop the heels to the right. You might take a peek under the right shoulder. Inhale back to the tiptoes. Exhale, heels come to the left. And your head might move the opposite direction. Inhale right back to the tiptoes. Exhale, heels toward the mat. It's a direction, not a destination. Inhale slowly forward into a plank. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, knees drop. I need to take off my outer layer. You're welcome to move into cats and cows or the letter C shape left and right, or find some hip circles. Whatever the body asks for, it's not yours to analyze, just allow it to explore what it needs. You might think it is your job to analyze, but this is an exploration. Tuck your toes under, send your bottom toward your heels. We're stretching out the toes and the bottoms of the feet. And then while you're doing that, you might crawl the hands backward a little bit. Place the backs of the hands onto the ground. The fingers point toward your knees. And you're working to place as much of the back of the hand onto the ground as possible. I can do it pretty well with one, but not the other. Rocking can be beneficial here. And then the palms return to the ground. The fingers point either left to right or toward the knees. And this time we're working the heels of the hands toward the ground. I'm doing a different one for each wrist, given I recently had carpal tunnel surgery, so we want to be careful there. And if you've had surgery in the past, it depends, 6 weeks to 6 months, you might notice there are things you need to be more careful about. Come back into the tabletop. Bring your big toes together. Spread your knees wide. Drop your bottom toward your heels for a child's pose. And in this child's pose, you're finding the breath. Maybe it's deeper. Maybe it's longer. Maybe it's broader. Maybe you feel it move up and down your spine, and then across left to right and right to left on your low back and hips. In the Buddhist teachings, the Tibetan teachings, there are 4 noble truths For me, they're part of my practice pre-meditation. They support a preparation among other little components. The first noble truth is that life is precious. And I don't think that tends to be a surprise for most people. Life is precious. It's just that sometimes we forget and we don't treat it that way. Noble truth number 2, nothing is permanent. Not an emotion, not a state of being, not even a table or a chair. Noble truth number 3 is the theme of this class, which is to consider the seeds that you sow. Because as we know, this is a truth, not just an adage, we reap what we sow, meaning what you put in comes back out. Some people think of that as karma, good karma, bad karma, neutral karma. And some people think of it as the route to understanding why what's happening is happening, how it will affect. And that sense of causality leads to truth number 4, that to be human is to suffer. And the essence around that is that we create our own suffering because we try and control or we expect certain things to happen in certain ways with certain outcomes. We become attached to them. And we can't control what other people do or what happens in the world or that it's raining or not raining. What we can control is our own response to that. So consider today, as you set your intention for the remainder of your practice, consider that you reap what you sow, that the seeds you plant and nurture are the ones that will grow. Big breath in, big breath out. Palms of the hands draw together, baby fingers on the ground, thumbs toward the sky. And bend your elbows, bring the hands to the nape of the neck or between your shoulder blades. Soften across the shoulders, and then one at a time, walk the elbows forward without lifting the bottom away from your heels. So only go as far as that works. And then soften the space between your shoulders, maybe even in your upper traps above that, your heart toward the earth. Hands draw to the mat. We walk them backward. And we find our way to a seat. I do believe this is a full practice without a warrior. So I know some of you will be super happy about that. Oh, mat is moving. Come back here. There we go. Okay, we're going to start with the soles of the feet together. You might have a nice big diamond inside the legs. We're simply going to sit up straight. That's it. I say that's it, but think of all the components that go into that. Think of all the awareness required. Think of what seed you are planting into this posture. Hands can come by your sides. You're on your fingertips if possible. And we take a nice, slow butterfly effect, not the butterfly effect of traveling in time. And now as the knees draw up, you're going to extend your legs, sitting up nice and straight. Toes reach toward your torso, fingers kind of like claws, draw down to the mat beside you. And as you press energy into the fingers to lengthen the torso and the arms, you're lifting your heart, evening out the shoulder blades, reaching forward with your heels, staff pose. You're going to make some space between your feet as wide as you can get it. And again, sit up nice and straight. Draw that belly and create a long, long torso. If you're kind of hunched forward or your belly is dropping forward without some, my belly's going to drop forward a little bit regardless, but you want to draw it in and up with the tailbone sort of velcroed or connected in to the earth like a fence post. We're going to go ahead and face the left knee. Sit up nice and tall and imagine that rather than you're working your nose toward your knee or something like that, you're actually reaching your heart past your toes. So sit up nice and tall, breathe in, hinge to the left and forward, reaching the heart forward, not necessarily the chin. So you might want to think about how long your neck is, breathe in again. And I don't mean that in terms of the fact that, hey, Karen, you have a short neck, but more what length can you bring it to? You don't have to push it. You don't have to force it. We're going to walk through the center. Same gig, heart forward. So work to open up your collarbones. And don't worry about how deep you get. Breathing in, we let it go. Rise up to your seat. Face your right knee. Toes again, reach toward you, belly in, heart high, breathe in. And exhale, shift as if the heart can come past your toes, walking the hands downward on the outsides of the legs. We're going to come back to the center. You might find you have a teeny bit more space to stretch. So breathe in, open up the heart and the collarbones. Exhale, walk the hands forward, reach the heart past the front of your mat. On an exhale, gather up the belly and walk the hands backwards, sitting up straight. I'm going to take now the left foot, keeping the right leg as it is. The left foot comes inside the right thumb. Double check those toes. Where are they in space? Actually, let's point the toes away from us for a moment so we can actually feel the sensation of reaching the heel forward and the toes back. Now we're going to face the left knee. You might take your right hand and place it on your ankle or your shin or on the ground. It doesn't matter. Sit up nice and tall. Left arm floats high, but pause. Extend the sitting bones to the earth. Lift the heart, the ribs, and the fingertips of the left hand toward the sky. And then we'll take a tilt over toward the right toes. Open up the heart. So here we don't want the heart forward. We want the shoulders and the hips in the same plane. That might help to place your forearm and palm upward inside your right leg. You're going to lift up with both arms, face the heart forward. Gather the hands behind the head. Drop the fingers onto the thumbs onto the sides of the neck and find a little massage. Arms up overhead. We face the right knee. Arms come forward. Lock them back into your shoulders. Breathe in. We're going to shift forward from the hips, keeping the arms parallel to the earth. Heart as lifted as you can get it. Rise back up, face forward, and hands drop to your sides. We're going to take that the other direction, but first, legs nice and wide. We'll take a fold through the center. Rise back up. Sole of the right foot inside the left thigh. Face your right knee. You know this gig. Shin or ankle you might hold on to, and the right arm floats. We get super tall. Then we tilt, making an arc toward the left toes. Some of you might be able to reach your left toes. Open up that right elbow. Open up the heart. You might find more space if you flip your left palm up and bring the forearm inside the left leg. Inhale, upward. Face your left knee. Arms forward, lock them into your shoulders. Breathe in. Exhale, shift. Breathe in. And we shift. Inhale. And shift. Rise back up, arms overhead, face front. Hands behind your head. This time, you're going to allow for the fingertips of the middle fingers to touch and open up the elbows. If you can, without your hands, you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. Knees drop out, a little tilt like a teapot over to the right, opening up the heart, and a little teapot tilt to the left. You might be saying, wow, I can really feel my thighs now. How is that even possible given we were stretching? But we were working the whole body. Let the knees draw upward. Little space between your feet. Palms of the hands on your kneecaps. We're going to sit up nice and straight. Big toe mounds of the feet remain on the ground. This is hard for many of us. You got to use the adductors here, the insides of the thighs. And we're going to round the spine, scoop the head down, the belly in, and then we'll lift. It's sort of a semi-cow. Is that like 40% fat milk? And again, you can tell I don't really drink milk. I don't know what the fat contents are. And then lift back up. And then down. And lift. Maybe feet spread a little more apart. We're going to take the right ankle and place it above the left knee. Here, you might simply press the knee away. You might bring your hands to the ground to help your heart forward. But we're stretching now into the right hip and glutes. If you have a rock the baby, go ahead and take it. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. And then we're going to lengthen the left leg and see if we can find a fold with both feet active. You don't have to come very deep. I'm feeling a little bit of excess muscle tightening on the left. So I'm going to take it easy here and rock into it. We're going to cross the right ankle above the left. Sit up nice and tall and reach that left heel forward. Unhook. Soles of the feet back to the earth. This time left ankle above the right knee. Try and keep that knee pointing forward. Maybe hands behind you. Maybe left hand on your inner knee. Maybe you rock the baby. Wherever you go, check your shoulders. If they're scooped up by your ears, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Big toe onto that right foot, right on the ground. Right leg lengthens, a fold. Lift up, shoulders over hips. Left ankle crosses above the right. Reach that right heel away from you. If you like a fold here, feel free. Unhook. This time we'll bend the knees. What shall we do here? I think what we will do is scoot the body forward and slowly come all the way down to the mat. All right, full body pencil stretch. Feet forward, arms up overhead, thumbs hook. Stretch. Huge breath in, toes forward, hands back, get a little taller, a little longer, a little I don't know what you want to call it, happier. Let it go. Lift the arms toward the sky. Twinkle the fingers like you could tickle the stars. And bring your hands beside you. We're going to flip over like a pancake. I'm actually going to bring my feet to the floor first. It's nice to get a different view. So you're going to roll over and readjust yourself so you're on your belly, on your mat, head at the back of your mat, hands by your sides, palms facing down. So you can walk your hands toward your feet. We're going to take 3 versions of locust. So the first one, the hands and the feet will remain on the ground. The second one, the hands might lift. And the third one, both the hands and the feet might lift. It's yogi's choice. So crawl those fingers toward your feet to open up the collarbones. And feel the bony hips on the ground and a little teeny lift of the belly button. That means a little pointing of the tailbone downward. Now the tops of your feet should be even more connected to the earth. On an inhale, forehead, nose, chin, collarbones lift. If you have a little bit more to work with, maybe your chest lifts. You're drawing the shoulder blades together, but the hands are on the ground. We breathe for 3, 2, and 1. Come down to the ground. Left ear faces the ground or maybe even touches it. Maybe a little wiggle of your hips left and right feels good. Forehead returns. Bony hips connected. Tailbone down, navel in. Heart forward and up. The forehead, nose, chin, collarbones, chest lift. The hands and arms float. And maybe the shoulder blades come back together a little closer when we breathe. If you have a bind here, feel free to take it. All the way down to the mat. The right cheek and ear face the mat. If the ear can come to the mat, allow that to happen. This looks like such a simple posture, but it'd be very challenging for many of us. So come back to the sense of the seeds that you are sowing in order to gain the benefit and the merit from this posture. Forehead to the mat. The hip bones pressed in, navel lifts, tailbone down. Inhale, forehead, nose, chin, collarbones, chest, arms float, legs float. Breathing 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way down to the mat. Bring your arms into a cactus shape. Bend your knees so feet are toward the sky and take a little windshield wiper movement there. Then you bring your legs to the ground, back to the ground. Bring your fingertips to the mat, to the ground outside your mat. You're a little higher than your shoulders or just about shoulder height. You're going to press into your right arm. Maybe bring the left forearm to the ground. Straighten that right arm as much as possible. And you're coming onto your left side. Right leg on top. You might lift it. You might even bend the knee toward the sky. You might even tap the foot onto the ground. It's a really interesting stretch for the shoulders and the chest and the arms. Come all the way back. You take a fallen tree. So the sole of the right foot comes inside the left thigh. Your left ear is on the mat. We breathe. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Right leg lengthens. Right ear onto the mat. Fingertips on the ground outside the mat by your shoulders. Maybe the right palm comes to the ground as you press into the left hand to lengthen that arm. Bring your right forearm to the mat and we move on to the right hip. Left leg might be lifted or knee bent or toes touching the ground behind the right leg. And we breathe. Come all the way back, this time fallen tree. So you're moving on to your belly, arms in framing your mat, and the sole of the left foot on the right leg. Breathing. Left leg extends, and then any way that makes sense for you, flip over like a pancake, facing the normal, the typical way that you would. Woo! Soles of the feet on the ground. We'll take a supine pigeon, allowing the right ankle to cross above the left knee. You could stay here as long as your right foot is activated to protect your right knee. If you have more possibility, space, opportunity, want to sow maybe a chunkier seed, you can draw that left knee in toward your chest, threading your hands through, or your right hand through the hole you made, and drawing that knee in. Both feet are active. And I invite you to breathe 3 to 6 breaths here. And then if you desire a hamstring stretch, you could add that in. But first, you're softening the shoulders down like they are glued to the earth. And you're creating this beautiful figure 4 shape, using your right elbow to press the right knee and thigh away from you. And then you might extend that left leg. Maybe the hands come above the right ankle or above the left knee. Maybe you grab onto a pant leg. Drop the left foot onto the ground. Slide the right knee above the left knee, almost like you're crossing your legs in a chair, even though we're not supposed to do that, varicose veins, etc. Arms wide on the ground. You can now shift your hips a little bit to the left and then drop the knees to the right for your twist. Arms out like a T if it works, palms up. The thing you want to check in on first are the shoulders and the shoulder blades. So neck is elongated, shoulder blades kiss the earth. So if that's not happening, you might come out of the posture a little bit. If you can, depending on your neck, your head will turn toward the left. We find some big, beautiful breath. A twist so wonderful after our back bends. Sole of the left foot returns to the mat. You're going to straighten your spine as much as it would naturally be. Keep the sole of the left foot on the ground and extend the right foot toward the sky. Yogi's choice here. If your leg is pretty straight and you're pretty stretchy on that right side, you can always extend the left leg. But I encourage you to hold on if you're not super stretchy. I don't know how you define super stretchy. You're sowing the seed of stretch. All right, right foot drops, left ankle crosses above the right knee. Supine figure 4, perhaps with a lift. Your right shin is parallel to the earth. Both feet are active. Shoulder blades rolling back. If you like to deepen your stretch, right leg extends. Sole of the right foot meets the earth, knees cross. Hips move a little to the right, knees drop to the left. Your twist. Sole of that right foot returns to the earth. The left foot comes down to the mat and shift your bottom so your spine is lengthened top to bottom. Just gonna check the time. All right, we got a couple more postures left that are viable to us. So the hands will come under your, the tops of your glutes, palms down, as we stretch the legs toward the sky. You might first lift just one knee and then the other into your chest, and then extend. There doesn't have to be a ton of effort here, but you might play around with ankle circles and opening and closing your toes. Moving into a happy baby or a simple hugging of the knees into your chest. Wherever you are, you might find a little rock left and right, feels delish. You might even extend one leg a lot, which helps you rock. Bring the heel back in, extend the other leg a lot. Bring it back in. If you'd like any other posture before Shavasana, you may move into that now. I'm going to take a Supta Baddha Konasana, so the soles of the feet are drawn together, the knees drop out left and right. And in the fullest expression of the posture, the arms draw overhead, maybe in a sort of cactus shape, or maybe with parts of the fingers or the hands touching. Life is precious. Nothing is permanent. What goes around comes around. To be human is to suffer, and yet we can mitigate that by being positive, by smiling is our lever, and by reaping the positive that we have sown. Find your Shavasana shape. If you can, the palms face upward, representing that you are relaxed and receptive. Breathe in fully. Let it go. No effort. Knowing that you have sown seeds of merit and of kindness, of self-love through your practice. And whether you harvest what you've created today or tomorrow or next week doesn't matter. The store builds and returns that kindness, that merit right back to you. Notice now the connection with the earth, like we did at the beginning of class, this earth energy connected to the feet, the lower legs, and all the way up to the low pelvis. Above the earth chakra is your fire chakra, your water chakra. Right in the low belly, met by the fire chakra, right at the center of the breastbone. Which is controlled and maintained by the air chakra, which meets with the center of the forehead space. And that melds itself into the final chakra at the top of the head, the crown of the head, consciousness. Take a big, big, big full breath in. Let it go. Invite some movement back to the body until you can allow yourself a bit of momentum to draw back to a seat. And coming into our seats, I'll face the camera a little bit more here. We drop the hands by the side, sweep them out and up. On a breath out, the hands gather right at your heart. Reconsider your intention, whether it was influenced by the theme of this class or not, does not matter. Just like the physical practice, the theme is an offer. We'll close our practice with a chant of Om. It's not required to join in, but if you would like to, or even if it's the first time you want to try it, let's go ahead and do that by first taking a cleansing breath. And now filling up for the sound of Om. Thumb knuckles connect right at the center of your forehead. May you allow your intention to influence the remainder of your day, your weekend. And may you find the power within to recognize the causality of what you put into this world is what comes back. Namaste. Thank you all. A treasure, as always, to practice with you. Even though I can't see you, I can kind of feel your energy. My name is Karen at Salt and Sand Studios in Central Vermont, Mad River Valley, Warren to be exact. Love to see you if and when you are around. This is a series of classes that are recorded and on video, often premiered or live. And they're here for you. So if you have funds, feel free to donate on our website. And if you don't have funds, don't worry about it. Have a great week. Thank you.